Welcome to this presentation titled Evaluating Trends and Predictors of STIs Acquisition Among Adolescents in the United States. My name is Chioma Kas-Osoka, and I am the postdoctoral fellow for Meharry Vanderbilt Alliance's Community Engaged Research Core. This presentation will highlight adolescent sexually transmitted infection, or STI risk, and evaluate data compiled from a nationally representative survey. Adolescence is characterized by developmental changes, both physical and emotional, along with experimentation and identity formation. During this developmental stage, young people are experimenting with risk-taking behaviors that may ultimately impact their sexual health. Several factors, including behavioral and environmental factors, impact high rates of STIs experienced by adolescents. Research indicates that youth are heavily impacted by STIs, with half of all new cases occurring among young people aged 15 to 24 years. Additionally, 32% of all cases of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis are among non-Hispanic blacks, even though they only account for 12% of the U.S. population. The increased STI rates among minoritized youth are a result of not just behavioral characteristics, but systemic factors as well. The goal of this project is to use a nationally representative sample of youth in the United States to examine demographic, behavioral, and systemic factors impacting STI diagnoses among younger adolescents. We conducted a secondary data analysis using the National Survey on Drug Use and Health to evaluate the trends and cross-sectional factors associated with STI acquisition among youth aged 12 to 17 years in the United States. This survey, administered since 1971, is a nationally representative sample of Americans across all age groups and examines mental health and substance use measures. We compiled responses from male and female youth from 2016 to 2020. Risk vulnerability variables were categorized as demographic, behavioral, and systemic. The primary outcome variable was STI diagnoses. Data showed that STI diagnoses was the lowest in 2020, and most STI diagnoses occurred for those 16 and 17 years old. From 2016 to 2020, rates of marijuana use ranged from 14 to 17%, and rates of alcohol consumption ranged from 25 to 29%. The multivariate logistic regression showed that all variables included in the analysis were significant. However, the strongest predictors of STI diagnoses were marijuana use and being booked or on probation for committing a crime. The odds of having an STI was 61% higher for females than males. As age increased, the odds of having an STI increased by 16%. The odds of having an STI were 65% higher for Black adolescents compared to white adolescents. Youth residing in small metro counties were at a lower risk of having an STI than those living in a large metro county, indicating having ever been booked for a crime or on probation increased one's odds of having an STI by 112% and 170% respectively. Marijuana and hashish use, along with alcohol consumption, were all predictors of having an STI diagnosis. The impact on STIs for young people result from a combination of demographic, behavioral, and systemic factors. The strongest predictors of STI acquisition, marijuana use, and variables indicating justice involvement warrant attention. Although STIs for this age group predominantly impact the 16 and 17-year-old adolescent, intervention strategies should target younger adolescents, primarily to reach this group prior to STI diagnoses. Additionally, intervention strategies should target behavioral and systemic factors to meet the sexual health needs of a wider range of adolescents. Findings suggest that although demographic variables play an integral role in predicting STIs, justice-involved youth are a critical subset of youth at an elevated risk for STIs. Risk reduction interventions should target jails, probation offices, and diversion courses. Future research should dissect the intersectionality between marijuana use and justice involvement's impact on STIs for youth aged 12 to 17 years.